7 books of the New Testament ever reside between the covers of one particular book. To say I believe in the verbal, plenary, that means complete, inspiration of the original Bible is to say that you believe in nothing, for no such book ever existed, unquote. 3 pages later, he states in conjunction with what I just read, quote, "Many people have a vague idea that there exists somewhere out there, an authoritative Greek text from which all translations and versions are made. This is not true." Again, big black letters. What we do have is a collection of what is called manuscript evidence, unquote. As far as the existence of the original autographical manuscripts is concerned, Ward is supported by Josh McDowell's collaborator, Don Stewart, who says on page 33 in his book entitled 99 Questions People Ask Most About the Bible, quote, "With rare exceptions, the original autographs of the ancient works have been lost. The science of attempting to reconstruct the text of these documents is known as textual criticism. We do not possess any of the original writings of the Old or New Testament." Now, I underline that. We do not possess any of the original writings of the Old or New Testament. We are dependent upon copies to reconstruct the text, unquote. On the next page he states, quote, "The original manuscripts in which the books of the Bible were written have been lost. Today, we do not possess any original book, any biblical book in its original form. This is true for the originals of almost all other ancient writings as well," unquote. So Ward and I are by no means alone in our analysis of this situation. On page 21, in a thick book entitled Problem Text, apologist Peter Ruckman, founder of the Pensacola Bible Institute, also supported our position by saying, quote, "Can anyone produce one or part of one original? You would not know whether you or anyone else had restored them because they don't have them. You don't have them. The real reason for bragging about the verbal, plenary, inspired originals is cowardice and desertion in combat," unquote. Well, it's nice to know that at least somebody's willing to admit the obvious. People who want to return to the originals are using that as a defense, a subterfuge. They know there are contradictions in the writings in front of them. That's obvious. But they say, there are no contradictions or inconsistencies or inaccuracies in the originals, knowing full well that the originals can't be produced by anybody, no matter how hard they may try. Knowing it can't be done, they hope that will provide seclusion. As Ruckman alleges, it's nothing more than cowardice and desertion in combat. 2 pages later, Ruckman states, quote, "None of them has a Bible." And he's again talking about the people who do not believe the King James is the only reliable version of the Bible. They have what they fondly call reliable and unreliable translations of some original manuscript that they never saw or read a day in their life, unquote. On the next page, fundamentalist Ruckman denounces the so-called Christians, quote, "who profess to believe that an unread, unseen Bible is or can be the Word of God," unquote. His observation is quite appropriate. If you've never read or seen a book, how can you be sure of what it really says? No living human being has ever read a copy of the original Bible. And that's assuming there was an original Bible. On page 202 in the same book, Problem Text, Ruckman makes the following accurate comment, quote, when John R. Rice, he's a fundamentalist preacher, quite well known in the South, who founded the Sword of the Lord publishing house, and is also a teacher of Jerry Falwell. When he says that he wrote the most scholarly, exhaustive book in print on what the Bible claims for its inspiration, Ruckman says he's no more seriously dealing with the Bible than Reverend Ike or Jimmy Swaggart. Rice has never seen the Bible. He has no the Bible to go to, unquote. And then Ruckman mentions some other people who have no Bible to go to. One of them is J. Vernon McGee. Referring to McGee, he says, quote, J. Vernon McGee must have it, for he tells us the way to learn the Bible is to discover what the original says. Wow, isn't that terrific, says Ruckman. Ruckman continues, is there anyone who can do it? No. Has it ever been done in 15 centuries? No. Could you find the original if you wanted to? No. Then why say it? Unquote. And Ruckman concludes, well, it's part of the party line. The correctness of his observation can't be ignored. It is part of the party line. Continuing in the same vein, Ruckman says on page 208, quote, we will lay the reader odds of 10 to 1 that he will not obtain one clear-cut statement by any man listed, and he's talking about the people who do not believe the King James is the only reliable Bible,